This presentation is about learning communities. My name is Kate Martin, presenting for the Instructional Design Course 646, Universal Course Design, at the University of Massachusetts, Boston. The objectives of this presentation are as follows. 1. Discuss the meaning of the word community as it relates to a group of learners. 2. List the stages of the human-centered design thinking process. And 3. Demonstrate how learning communities can practice human-centered design thinking to solve problems in a group of adult learners, the target audience. So what does the word community mean to you? How do we define community? And what is a learning community? The definition of community according to Oxford's English dictionaries is, quote, a group of people living in the same place or having a particular characteristic in common. Learning communities provide a space and structure for people to align around a shared goal. These communities enable participants to share results and learn from each other, thereby improving their ability to achieve rapid yet significant progress. Source: Harvard University Center on the Developing Child. Although its origins can be traced back several decades or more, the modern-day concept of human-centered design was introduced by British designer Tim Brown in the 1990s. Brown has been at the forefront of consulting firm IDEO, the industry leader for design of products, services, environments, and digital experiences. The image shown in this presentation depicts three overlapping circles which intersect in the center. The circle on top depicts the word viable for business underneath it. Below that is feasible for technology, and finally in the center, desirable for the human. So what this is representing is we want something that's desirable to the human, and the human should always be at the center, but it also needs to be viable from a business standpoint. And finally, we need to be able to, it needs to be feasible from a technology standpoint. We actually need to be able to create what we are aiming to do. The 5 stages of human-centered design are 1. Empathize. 2. Define the problem. 3. Idea generation. 4. Prototype creation. And 5. Test the prototype. These ideas and 5 stages are depicted in the figure to the right and indicate arrows going in a linear fashion, but also nonlinear, in that this is a both linear and nonlinear process. One can go from step 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, but also backwards at any point in time. Step 1 is empathy. To empathize. Empathy is the capacity to step into other people's shoes, to understand their lives, and start to solve problems from their perspectives. Human-centered design is premised on empathy, on the idea that the people you're designing for are your roadmap to innovative solutions. You empathize, understand them, and bring them along with you in the design process. Source: IDEO.org, 2015, The Field Guide to Human-Centered Design. Step 2. Define the problem. Put together the information you have gathered. What is your design challenge? What user problem will you be trying to solve? This is also known as the synthesis stage. Develop a human-centered problem statement. What is a problem statement? It describes a condition that needs to be improved, identifies a gap between the current state, the problem, and the desired state, the goal, of a process or product. In the context of design, think of a user problem as an unmet need. Problem statements or points of view statements frame the problem or need in a way that is actionable for designers. This produces a clear description of the issue that the designer seeks to address, maintaining the focus on the user at all times. Step 3. Ideate, also known as idea generation. Find new solutions from the user's perspective. Ideation can take on several forms, such as brainstorming, brainwriting, brain walking, in which one can walk around the room generating ideas, placing them on the wall in a group setting, and worst possible idea, in which it's a method where team members purposefully seek the worst solutions. The inverted search process relaxes them, boosts their confidence, and stokes their creativity so they can examine these ideas, challenge their assumptions, and gain insights toward great ideas. Step 4. Prototype creation. I know you're asking yourself, am I going to make a robot? Well, not exactly. Prototyping can take on various forms. First and foremost, you're mapping out the most important ideas, and you're selecting your top 3 ideas to narrow it down. What changes do you want to see? Propose solution concepts. These might be processes, products, or policies. Make a storyboard. There are great infographic makers on the web. Step 5. Test the prototype. As I mentioned, this is an iterative process, so you can go from step 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, but then back to 4 to 3 to 2 to 1, and so on. There will be changes that need to be made. User input needs to be had. So be prepared, because that feedback is priceless. And the deeper we can understand the user, the better a result we will receive. The infographic created on the right depicts a healthcare professional edition with individuals in healthcare garb, scrubs, and white coats, an individual in a wheelchair at the top of the picture, and the bottom depicts the 5 stages of the human-centered design process in that linear and nonlinear fashion, steps 1 through 5, as mentioned previously. So, now it's time for a sample problem. If you were a healthcare professional, what experience, physical environment, or policy would you redesign for people with disabilities, and how would you approach it? Experience can be anything you define it to be, such as components of an emergency room visit, or time spent in a clinic waiting room. I'll give you a moment to think about it. Then advance to the next slide. Let's review the 5 stages of human-centered design. First, we're going to empathize. Second, we're going to define the problem. 3, generate ideas. 4, create a prototype. And 5, if possible, test the prototype. On the right, I've provided that image again depicting these 5 stages in their linear and nonlinear fashion. First, empathize. The image before you displays an individual wearing dress shoes and pants and a cane that is red and white, which will usually mean that the individual is both blind or visually impaired and deaf, or deaf-blind, as many individuals refer to themselves. This individual is standing on a surface with tactile paving, a system of textured ground surface indicators that's found in public spaces to help with navigation. 2. Define the problem. People with physical disabilities have difficulty accessing the healthcare system due to complicated clinical spaces and no person or technology made available to assist them. 3. Ideate. A person could meet someone with a disability at the front door of a clinic or hospital emergency department, asking how they can help them. 4. Prototype. Volunteers could watch clinical entry points and greet people at the door. 5. Test the prototype. Collaborate with a local healthcare provider, clinic, or hospital. The end. That was just a short example from one person. Try this out with a group of friends. Thanks.